That's gonna work for me. Hi everyone, I'm gonna fix the sound for everybody else in the meantime. Happy Saturday. Welcome to our very first episode of Go West, a Pulp Cthulhu campaign. I'm not gonna be DMing. This is this is actually the first time I think on this channel that we have another DM. And so I'll leave it up to her to introduce herself, the game, and everything else. So take it off, Deirdre. No, wait, that's not true. I was talking and I didn't unmute you and everything else. Wait. Try to talk for... No, it doesn't work. Why? It's supposed to pick up my default thing. I am a pro streamer, I swear. Do it again?
Hello, y'all. How you doing this evening?
That should work.
I don't know. I didn't have the sound on. Hey, y'all. Y'all working this evening? Yep.
I think you're
We're
safe.
good. We're good.
All right.
It's a good night. It's a good night,
Just
y'all.
another hiccup.
It's all good. We're all here on a Saturday night. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to drive some folk mad. It'll be great. Great time. So, as we get started, hello all, welcome. I'm Deirdre, or at Praxagor Thesmophoria, as you see me hanging out in the Twitch chat. And this is a Pulp Cthulhu Western campaign that got its auspices started over on Unmade Gaming's Extra Life charity stream, and has kind of evolved into a full campaign. And we have some new players for me to drive insane in the Old West. But they're going to introduce themselves, and then we're going to get right into our wonderful story for tonight. A little madness, a little darkness. Life is all good. So why don't we start with Kienna?
Hello, I'm Kenna. You also may know me as Kenna S over on Twitter and Twitch. Super hyped to be here, and as I was part of the first game of Go West, and now we're doing a whole campaign, I'm super excited.
All right, then why don't we shift on over to the good doctor, Mr. Scott. Scott, how are you doing tonight?
Good, thank you. I'm Berserker Rage on Twitter, and I'm probably going to be the first one to go insane tonight. I'm counting on that. So looking forward to losing my mind.
Well, that's a good place to start. Always a good thing to be prepared to lose your mind. And next we have our dear friend, Doctor, even, Kelly. How are we doing, Kelly?
Hi. I'm Kelly. Kelly Lane on Twitter, Talia Darkin in chat. And I'm really excited to be here playing Maisie, the young woman who currently runs the general store in town. You're muted, Deidre.
Yeah, I'm professional. I'm so professional. I'm taking all of my cues from professional people. And next up, we have our wonderful host for the evening, Simon. How you doing this evening?
Hi, I am overwhelmed by the amount of stuff I forgot to put on the overlay and all that, but that's okay. Production issues aside, I am going to be playing George Brooke, and I am part of the deputies here in Four Corners, Mexico. And I am going to subject y'all to my horrible southern drawl for as long as I can. Yeah.
It's fine, honey. Y'all get used to it in a while. I mean, talk to somebody well enough, it'll sound natural and to yourself in the morning.
Well, to be honest, I actually like the accent, so I like it.
Ooh, look, there's this. Okay. And welcome. So we're gonna get started tonight. We have one more gentleman joining us who's a little bit late. The weather does delay us all, as we all know. But we're gonna start tonight it's actually not storming or raining like it is in most of North America at the moment. It is, however, a bright, sunny, kind of cool after morning in Four Corners, New Mexico territory. The year is 1870. The war has been over for 5 years, and movement west has grown with the end of the recent unpleasantries. There's a rise in more and more people looking to make their fortunes or recover from whatever they experienced during that terrible time in American history. But we're going to start today following an older woman in her 50s, Miss Nellie Connors. She's known to most folk in town. Well, she used to teach most folk in town. And as she strides purposely down the street, she stops and waves at a kindly gentleman standing, well, probably sitting on the front porch of the local jail cell. Mr. Brooks, sir, are you okay? Do you need anything? You look quite hungry, sir. Can I get you some breakfast this morning? And who does she see, Simon?
She sees a tall, lanky fellow, not quite wiry, not necessarily built for life out west. He has short, very short, dark blonde hair and a scruffy, like stubbly beard, I should say. And he's... What time of day is it? Morning?
It's about just about morning. Sun's up, folks up.
Then I think if he hasn't worked the previous night, he would be probably relatively well dressed with just these tan trousers, suspenders over a dark, like my shirt, like a charcoal color shirt with his hat, and probably rolling up a cigarette.
Are you sure you don't need any more coffee? I know it'd be a long day.
And who is she again?
She's Miss Nellie Connors.
Miss Nellie? Well, that's mighty kind of you, Miss Nellie. I could go for another cup of coffee. This is a very rough awakening for me this morning.
Well, I have some things I have to get at the store, but I'll send I'll send one of the young folk over with some more coffee for you. Y'all need some better food and sundries for yourselves. You work hard, you take care of us, you make sure we stay alive and aren't beset by, well, folk that ain't right. We appreciate you, Deputy. I want you to know that.
I'm just doing my duty, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate you doing your duty. And she proceeds on down the street, following down 2 more storefronts before she walks into the door of Coldwater Sundries. Who does she see behind the counter, Kelly?
So she sees kind of a tall, young, blonde woman. She's actually a teenager. She's 19. Definitely looks too young to be running the store, but she's in there all by herself. You can tell from the sun on her skin and the waist belt of all sorts of bits and bobs that she's kind of very comfortable here in the store. She's probably actually like on a ladder dealing with something on a shelf, and waves as she comes in.
Oh, Maisie, how you doing, honey? It's a good day for you too? Your folks around?
Oh, they're out back at the house. They're just, and most days they don't even come in anymore. Daddy pops in sometimes, but
such a shame. I haven't seen your mom in a few years. Well, not years. It just feels like years. You know, it's been a couple days. I've been in town for a while. I wanted to see how she was doing. She feeling okay?
Yeah. She's doing great. They're just so tired of being here at the store. They've been around a long time. They just like spending time in each other's company. You should pop down to the saloon later. I think Daddy was going to go play poker. Maybe Mom will come with.
Well, I might do something about that. But if you got a minute, I need a couple things, and why don't you send some coffee over to that nice young deputy who's sitting on the front porch outside the jailhouse?
I can do that. Hold on, give me 1 second. And she like climbs down off the ladder, dusts herself off. She's like, what can I get for you?
Well, I need about another pound of bacon and about 2 pounds of coffee. And well, do you have any of those peppermints?
I don't think we have any on the shelf, but I bet Daddy's got some in the back. And
I need just a couple. Just a couple.
Okay, give me just a second. You see her running around, kind of immediately going to every single place that she would need to. She pops in the back and she comes out with a small little bag of peppermints and puts everything up on the counter.
Well, why don't you and she pays you very kindly and thanks you profusely before we see the camera pan away from the two of you further down the street to a young woman leaving the livery stable, striding across the street, not paying much mind to what's going on. What does the camera focus in on with Kiana?
So they see a woman, long black hair that's been pulled into a braid, in what many would consider fairly men's clothing, the most utilitarian, not like the dresses of the ladies around the town here. And you notice right away that she is quite armed. There is a large rifle that is strapped to her back, and another handgun on her waist that she doesn't really bother to hide as she walks out and into the street.
And as she walks into the street, there's a gentleman on the second porch beginning his day. Who does she see on that porch then, Scott?
She would see Dr. Drake Anders beginning his daily routine at the doctor's office of getting everything ready for the first patients of the day. And would see about a well-built man, probably 5'9", so a little tall for the era, and dark hair, short mustache with his, spectacles tucked in his shirt pocket. Just preparing for the first round of patients.
And does June acknowledge the doctor?
June will probably, tip her hat. No verbal acknowledgement. She's, not unfriendly, but she's, a little distant from things. So she'll just kind of, acknowledge and add to the doctor.
Morning.
Morning to you, Doc. All right. Everything all right here?
Doing fine. Just getting ready for things.
All right. Well, I think Miss trying to remember her name. Miss Anna is going to be coming by at some point later on today.
I look forward to seeing her.
Right.
Well, there's this wonderful conversation proceeding through our fine folk on the street. June proceeds down towards the wonderful location of Lady Goodnight's House of Rest. And we have here in the sound of the distance, a noise breaks the quiet of the morning as the church bells start to ring. Theoretically. There we go. There we go. There we go. Haha. I get things work. And
you guys hear me?
Oh, well, give us a second, folks. Yeah, it is.
It's good now.
Everything's perfect.
We're perfect. And the bells are ringing at the church at the top of the street in the opposite direction from Lady Goodnight's house of rest. And we see coming out, waiting by the church door, a gentleman. Who do we see, Quentin?
So you see Father Boris Makarov. He's a Eastern, Russian Orthodox priest. So he has like black robes on, and he has like the classic like Orthodox hats, like flat on top, and goes up a little bit. I'll have a costume later, I promise. Yeah, he's probably about like 5'6". He's definitely older for the era. He's around like 44-ish. He's had a hard life. He's traveled a lot. He's very educated. And he's a little bit around the belly from a sedentary lifestyle, but yeah, that's Father Boris Makarov.
Well, and as the bells are tolling, we see a procession begin to form at the end of the street. A large number of folk. For while the day is sunny and bright, it is gloomy in the hearts of many, as today they bury Theodore Bradford, one of the largest local landlords. Proceeding behind the wagon carrying the coffin towards the church, you see his widow, Mrs. Genevieve Bradford, and her sister, Geraldine Marsden. Genevieve Bradford is a woman of about 30, 35. It's hard to tell. Ranchen is not the kindest on one's complexion. She's dressed in black with a full veil as she leans upon her sister, Geraldine. Why did I do this to myself, people? Why?
It happens to the best of us.
Of course, I intentionally created these people. Genevieve is leaning on Geraldine. Geraldine is younger, significantly younger. She's maybe about 3 years older than you are, Maisie. You're very familiar with her. She grew up in town. You went to school together and were friends. She now has taken over in the last couple months, the position of school teacher from Miss Nellie. And behind them, proceeding down the main street, is the ranch hands, the friendly known throughout town as the Bradford boys. When you have a spread that size, well, it becomes one of the major employers in the area. And you see a number of folks start to leave their houses and leave their storefronts. Bruce Taggart actually closes the saloon as he joins the funeral procession down towards the church. He's well known for being a close friend of Mr. Bradford in life, and his attendance at the funeral, well, that was given. What are you going to do?
Well, I figure I'm going to oversee the burial. So as everyone gathers around,
well, is anyone else going to be joining this funeral? The deputy.
I'ma go to church. Fuck everything else I just said. I'ma go to church.
All right.
I'll research his beliefs later.
The reason the deputy is going to the church Maisie, are you gonna join the funeral?
Yes, I think Maisie probably knew that it was happening today and was planning on locking up the shop for a few hours this afternoon, which in a town like this really doesn't ever happen. And join in to support her friend. Mostly just to be there for Geraldine.
Mm-hmm. Is the doctor going to join the
doctor will.
crowd?
The doctor will put on his spectacles and go forth and pay his respects, not being a man of God, but believing in paying their due respects to, especially someone who was kind enough to grant them the land that they're working on.
Yes, and Theodore Bradford was the largest landowner and the largest business owner in town. Probably owns a large chunk of the properties that most of you reside upon. June, are you heading to the funeral, or you have somebody else to see today?
Yeah, June's new in town. Relatively so. Only been here for a couple of months, and now that has no real attachment. And also seems to be conveniently placed right across from the church. So she's just gonna go and not actually go to the funeral, but she'll go to the brothel, checking on Pearl, and watch from across the street.
Okay. So as this funeral procession slides down the street, picking up folk as it goes, it reaches the doors of the church, and you see Geraldine weeping profusely, while her sister Genevieve, the widow, seems to be trying to be stoic. She holds a very stoic position, and you can just see like her occasionally bringing the handkerchief up to blot her eyes, but Geraldine is very, almost overly emotional about this. But, well, it's not uncommon. And while they stand there and wait, they're going to have the ranch hands, of course, are going to approach and remove the casket from the wagon and bring it into the church. Father, I believe you have a funeral to conduct.
Yes, I do. I am on my way. Would you please join me in the chapel?
And you see Genevieve just, thank you, Father. Your kindness and a solace in this hour of our need.
Even at the darkest times, there is light if you look for it.
Thank you, Father. As she
Please,
proceeds
right
to
this
follow
way.
you. As she proceeds to follow the casket inside the church. And most enter well in. It's well attended. It's a funeral of the richest man in town. Where are you going to place yourselves in this church? Well, aside from the priest who's going to be at the pulpit.
I think Maisie is gonna sit as close to her friend Geraldine as she can. If there's maybe the row behind her, assuming there's like a section probably saved for the family. But Maisie's like, she grew up here. She literally knows everyone in town, so they won't be surprised that she's kind of sitting up front with the family.
Yeah, and Geraldine will see you coming in and just kind of reach her hand out to kind of pull you next to her on the front pew. The Bradfords were married for a few years, but they didn't have any children, so it's only the ranch hands and Genevieve and her sister filling out the family, if you for lack of a better term at the moment. Doctor.
The doctor will enter the church and find a quiet place in the back just to sit down and not make any bit of a fuss, just having a seat and waiting to see what comes along.
Well, that'll be good. And then Deputy.
George is going to sit, if possible, the bench right behind the Bradford boys, the ranch hands. Stay close to the family and the grieving. Is it the grievers? Whew. More coffee.
All right. And as the bells stop ringing and everyone settles in, you look upon your congregation, Father.
Yeah, he steps up to the pulpit and he like clears his voice, and he says, "Everyone, we are gathered here today to honor not only the life but the death of Theodore Bradford. Although he was not ordained as Eastern Orthodox, so I shall not read the proper funeral rites for him. I do have a poem that I feel is fitting. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am a diamond glints on the snow. I am the sun on the ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Amen."
Amen. You hear?
And I'll bow, and if anybody else, if anyone else would like to say some words about the departed, you may say so now.
Bruce Taggart will stand up, kind of reaching a hand and squeezing Genevieve's shoulder as he walks up towards the pulpit, kind of taking a brief moment to look at her, and then stands in front of the pulpit. He is not a man of God. He would not dare try and take that place, but he will stand and he will greet out, "My friends, today we bury my friend, Theodore Bradford. I'm real sorry for you, Genevieve. I know that this is not what you wanted, and I know this is not what he would have wanted, leaving you in such a manner. But I know he loved you. I know he loved this town. And so I say goodbye to my friend. Goodbye, Theodore. You still owe me $5 for that bottle." Getting a laugh from a number of folk around, very familiar with Bruce Taggart and Theodore Bradford's on-again, off-again bet over whether or not that bottle had ever been paid for. Then they proceed out towards the church. Out of the church towards the graveyard at the top of the hill. Father, I believe you would be following close behind the casket, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I'd probably be like either in front of or behind the pallbearers, whoever's carrying the casket.
Okay. So you would be the first to enter the churchyard.
Yeah.
Graveyard, excuse me. Why don't you roll me a spot hidden?
Oh boy. Did I do it right? Yeah.
Yes, you did. Unfortunately, you are focused on what your job is. Your job is to comfort the grieving and make sure that this funeral goes off without a hitch. There has been stories, unfortunately, of the previous man in your position who was slightly inebriated at a funeral and forgot to screw down the coffin lid, and, well, when they tried to lower the gentleman into the grave, he went, but the coffin didn't. It was most upsetting for most folk in town. So you're focused on your job, and you're doing it very well.
Great.
As the rest of you approach, how are you? Think probably the deputy would. Where are you coming in, Deputy Brooke?
think George would keep his distance. I didn't know Bradford Ted particularly well. So I'm just gonna let the grievers grieve, and I'm gonna keep an eye out, make sure nobody does anything stupid.
So you're watching the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to roll me a spot hidden or a listen for that?
Sure thing. Am I good at anything? I'm gonna try
Good
spot
question.
hidden. What was the green button again?
The green button is the normal roll button.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh, bam!
Ooh, critical!
I got me the eyes of a hawk.
You do. I am very impressed with that critical, by the way. That is quite impressive.
I'm gonna go and check spot hidden so I can level up.
Yes, you can. You can check that, so when you come back, you can level it up. As we will be advancing throughout this campaign, and yes, if you choose, this is a perfect point to say, you can help our kind investigators survive with their sanity intact. And we will have a button explaining all of that when we come back from the break. I'm talking about all of that later. But as you peruse the crowd of mourners and you see the folk carrying in the casket, you notice something very odd, Mr. Brooke. You notice someone missing. Usually, the person who would probably be in charge and riding herd on the Bradford boys would be, well, the foreman, Silas Farley. But Silas isn't here. Now, you know that by all accounts, Silas is an older man, and he does a very good job of letting his boys get just rowdy enough that they let loose, but not bad enough that you're locking them up for anything more than a minor drunken disorderly.
Mm-hmm.
June may have thrown a couple of those boys out of, well, Lady Goodnights on occasion, but not for anything more problematic than just being overly loud and overly drunk. But you do know that Silas is a God-fearing man who served with Theodore during the Mexican-American War and hadn't really left his side since, so his lack of presence at the funeral is
Suspicious?
odd. Or suspicious. Good choice on that one. But with the critical, I will also let you know, even though you were only looking at the crowd, you notice something else.
Mm-hmm.
You notice a number of the graves in this graveyard are unsettled.
See, this is why I was trying to keep an eye out on everything. Sometimes grudges and bets that go unpaid for a long time, people tend to try to settle them after death. And that's just desecrating. And I'm not gonna have that in my Tomnon. Oof, that was hard. I'm gonna keep butchering it, guys.
It's fine.
Is
It'll eventually get there.
I assume the widow is probably surrounded by like her family, her friends, the boys, the farmhands. I think I'll wait until after everything's done to go speak with her.
Okay.
Let her, let the actual ceremony end, and
Yep. That makes sense. So, Father Markov, are you going to commit this man to the ground? Markov, excuse me.
Yeah, I as they're lowering him, I can do the whole like ashes to ashes and dust to dust. May he rest in God's light.
Mm-hmm. And you see a number of folk kind of give you a slight side eye at that one. Not real intentional, but just like, well, you know, we done? I think we're done. The Bradford boys are good folk. They're ranch hands. They work the land. They work for the cattlemen. But they're not real emotionally committed individuals. You see Genevieve come up to you, Father, and thank you for a wonderful service. You are such a solace in my time of need. I apologize. I must retire to the house. But I please come to dinner maybe next week, and I can thank you appropriately for your kindness.
Yes, I shall see you next week. I understand the grieving process of this matter. If you need to speak anytime, my doors are always open for anyone.
Thank you, Father. I appreciate you. Geraldine. And she calls to Geraldine, who's been spending most of her time standing next to Maisie, crying profusely on Maisie. How's Maisie been handling that?
Would Maisie know if this is like normal behavior for her? I feel like Maisie knows Geraldine really well and knows that, you know, she might be a bit more delicate than Maisie is, but is like this extreme?
You're aware of her general emotions, and you're probably very familiar with her when she's a little bit, shall we say, overacting.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go ahead and roll psychology to see if you can tell the difference in the moment? I'll even give you advantage on it since you know her so well.
Oh, so then I should roll that one.
No, that's no, just roll it twice.
Oh, okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. You got it's straight successes on everything, but it's straight success. All the successes. You are familiar with Geraldine. You know that while she is a slightly more emotional and not flighty, but
sensitive.
Very sensitive. She feels things very strongly. She may have on a counter had a fit of the vapors. But you're also aware of the fact that this scene, for the most part, seems natural, and she only seems excessive when she's trying to avoid eye contact with a certain young gentleman that both you and Geraldine have a very negative reaction about. Because Joshua Covington is staring at the two of you like there's nothing better in the world than he would like to just walk up and talk to you.
And I think
every time she makes eye contact with him, she just kind of falls even harder upon you, crying even louder.
And I think Maisie spends a lot of time making sure that she's kind of, because she keeps like arranging the two of them, right? Making sure that their backs are kind of to Joshua and so that no eye contact can happen, and she's being very, very careful and very there to her friend, and is trying to like genuinely support her. But is also kind of playing this game with the crowd, right? To like
mm-hmm. Making sure that no one can interrupt you. Genevieve approaches the two of you and says, Geraldine, it's time for us to retire to the house. We'll be having company. Maisie, are you gonna join us at the house?
Yeah. I can come by for a little while. I want to go check on the store, but I can come by.
We appreciate it. Geraldine, come on. And Genevieve and Geraldine are going to get into the wagon cart, and one of the other ranch hands, name of River Ashton, is driving the cart back to the driving the cart back to the ranch himself. Well, most of the crowd disperses, and Maisie goes back to the store to check on it. And what are you going to do? When this crowd of, well, Bruce Taggart stands up in the middle of the street and says, I believe it is time that we send my good friend Theodore off the way he would have wanted. First round's on the house, y'all.
Cheers. But I'm going to go to Theodore's widow. That's not Geraldine though. Is Geraldine Ted's widow?
Genevieve Bradford is the widow.
Genevieve
Geraldine.
Bradford. Okay.
Masden. Geraldine Masden is the widow's sister.
Okay. Just so I know.
Yeah, you got to get that family tree worked out.
Well, I mean, it's a small town, so I figure like we should all know each other. So I'll go to Genevieve.
Mm-hmm. They haven't left town yet, or are you going to go all the way out to the ranch, which is a couple miles from town?
No, I want to get them before they leave even the graveyard. Like the moment that Genevieve went and talked to Maisie and Geraldine, like a few seconds after.
Okay.
My sincere condolences, ma'am, for the loss of your husband.
Thank you, Deputy. Correct. I believe Deputy Brooks, would not.
I
apologize.
That's all right. You can call me George.
Thank you, Mr. George.
I couldn't help but notice that Silas wasn't here today. Is everything all right with him?
I don't know. I haven't seen Silas since before.
That's all right, ma'am. I'm not gonna bother you now. All right, I'm not gonna bother you any longer. What? I keep cutting you off.
I apologize. We haven't seen Silas since we found Theodore.
I understand. I just reckon he might want to have been present at his friend's funeral, is all.
I would have thought so too, but I don't know where the gentleman is. And
that's mighty strange.
Yes, but when one's husband dies of a fit of apoplexy.
All right, ma'am. I'm not gonna take much of your time any longer. You have yourself.
Things are complicated, and I apologize. I haven't been keeping track of so many people.
Look, you take it easy. I might come around the ranch, maybe on the morrow, if that's all right with you.
Of course.
All right,
Ashton, you know Mr. Ashton. Mr. Ashton is in charge of security.
Ma'am, and George puts a delicate hand on her shoulder and says, "Ma'am, it's all right. He's with God now. He's in a better place."
And she will reach on, like, just kind of rest her hand on where yours is and just kind of squeeze it. Yes, those who God favors will see the light of the return, the resurrection. Yes, the resurrection. I apologize. I have to get home.
You'll go home now, ma'am. And I'll turn to Geraldine real quick and I'll say, you make sure she's okay. Make sure she get home safe.
And Geraldine will turn to you and say, "Well, of course. Can you watch out And she just kind of like subtly takes her handkerchief and just kind of blots her eyes and goes, "Can you watch out? Because Joshua's was staring at Maisie all through that service, and he hasn't been leaving her alone. It's unsettling."
What would I know about this Joshua fellow?
He's your boss's nephew.
I meant out of game. Okay, he's my boss's nephew. Oh, he's the fucking A.
Joshua Covington is the nephew of the sheriff. The sheriff is currently out of town. Has been. He's at a trial. You would know that he went to the Capitol in Santa Fe a week ago for a capital case.
All right, I'm gonna keep an eye out on that Joshua fellow. You have yourself a good day now, ma'am.
But of course, deputy. And the two of them will get in the carriage, and they'll ride off towards the house. And again, most folk are going to approach the saloon. Some of the ranch hands are going to make their way over to Lady Goodnight's because, well, celebration or free time? Same as it ever was. And we pan the camera back into the street with a number of folk going about their business. Doctor, what are you going to do now that there's a free round happening at the saloon?
It sounds like the beginning of the doctor's day is going to be a little interrupted, so I'm going to move myself on to the saloon and maybe have a drink early in the morning.
Well, I mean, by this time it's about 11 o'clock. It's not that early. Also, so you're going to walk into the saloon and make life everybody enjoy. Why is that not playing? Why is this not right? There we go.
It's playing.
We can hear that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Sound works. So you're going to make your way to the saloon. Father, there's an open call. Are you joining the festivities?
One drink will not hurt anyone.
No, of course not. June, how are you going to deal with the sudden influx of a large number of ranch hands in the middle of the day?
June is so after gone in and saying good morning to Pearl, she would have gone to her normal chair that's right by the front door, very close to the stairs that go upstairs, as well as the desk where, people do their business. And she just has a chair there that she just sits in. They got her propped up against the wall. They know not to mess with her. She just, as they walk in, and she just raises an eyebrow at them.
Yes. Lady Goodnight's, for your player information and arrangement of the town, is across the street in the general sense from the church, as in there's a T street and the church is at the top of the T and Lady Goodnight's is here. And the saloon, well, that's across the street from Lady Goodnight's. So by this point, Bruce Taggart is pouring one out for everybody. Doctor and Father, Deputy, are you joining them in this
Of course.
free round? Why don't all of you make yourselves a constitution check?
Oops.
Just to see how this goes. With a fail from the doctor, a fail from the priest, but a success from the deputy.
A success
not
from the
believe
guy
that, yeah.
who has almost no chance of missing a constitution check anyway.
This is true, but, It could be. He could roll really badly someday. This is, well, Bruce Taggart is a man of business. He might pour one out for the crowd to celebrate his friend's funeral, but it ain't gonna be top shelf. And the rat gut is definitely gonna hit the father and the doctor a little hard. A little stronger than may have been expected. Particularly as probably most of you... Did y'all have breakfast this morning?
Maybe.
Probably not. Maybe just a cup of coffee.
I'm still waiting on my coffee.
You had a funeral to attend, and now you have yourself another drink, sir. I think that would be good enough. As you enjoy some pleasantries, and there's a... But father and doctor are definitely beginning to feel this one drink. You're not intoxicated, but you might be a little bit buzzed. It was a lot stronger than you expected.
Did Dr. Andrews do the autopsy on the deceased?
There was no autopsy.
I was gonna say, yeah, no.
Okay.
There was no sign of violent death. The gentleman died in his reading room in his house in a fit of apoplexy. And for those of you unaware with that terminology, he had himself a big old stroke. And you can take yourself from that, what that happens, or looked like.
Probably didn't take enough opium to be in good health.
Laudanum. You mean laudanum.
Same thing.
No, it's not. Laudanum, by the way, folks, is a liquid distilled form of opium mixed with alcohol.
Cure for everything.
Also, a very common medicinal product that the doctor probably has quite a bit of in his office.
Perhaps.
But it is something that is very common. So the doctor and the priest are a little bit tipsy. The deputy is fine. He's keeping an eye on things. Maisie, are you going out to the house, or are you going to...
I think she'd probably go out to the house after making sure the store was actually completely locked up. Update her little sign on the door that says "Be back soon." And
Well, as you are leaving, two of the younger ranch hands, no one really knows who they are, no one really cares, answer the names of Jack and John, and no one's quite sure which one's which, start a fist fight that spills out into the middle of the street. And someone gets shoved through. Again, nobody's quite sure. It could be Jack, it could be John. Through the doors of the Lady Goodnights. Knocking into, well, let's see, do they knock into June as they bust through the door?
That's a good question.
Let's see with that dex what happens.
Right. Do you want me to roll a dex or a dodge or what's...
Your choice. Dex or dodge, your choice.
Oh, we're gonna do dex.
I
Yeah.
figured. Yeah. Yeah, you kind of see this door start to swing open and move yourself out of the way as these two ranch hands fall into Lady Goodnight's house of rest. Unfortunately, the gentleman standing behind you is not so lucky, and they fall right into him. This, of course, upsets the gentleman as he was in the middle of beginning a conversation with a wonderful young lady. And he turns around and goes to throw a punch at the nearest, well, Jack or John. Again, no one's quite sure which one's which. But they're too busy wrestling on the floor and ends up punching someone else entirely.
Yeah.
With the fight then falling out of the Lady Goodnights into the street. Maisie, you would see this, and what had started as two folk just letting off steam has devolved into an all-out brawl spanning two places of business.
So did they come out of or end up in the saloon? Like
They started in the saloon.
they started in. Okay.
Ended up in Lady Goodnight's. The fight has now come out of Lady Goodnight's because enough people have gotten involved in that and's fallen through the doors of the saloon. Doctor and Father, well, you're both tipsy enough that you're going to get shoved into the deputy. Deputy, are you able to dodge this out of the way when you see these two folk coming at you?
Well, I'm gonna try. I'm actually, I would like to try to, like, get myself out of the way, but also try to prevent them from falling over.
So you want to... So why don't we go ahead... We'll just use the dodge then. We can say that you can catch...
Sure. I mean, I'm gonna
depending on
fail.
how well you do, you can catch one of them.
Well, it's not half or a fifth, but I do succeed.
Yeah. You do catch... You do succeed. Which one are you going to try and keep off the floor? The doctor or the priest?
Oof, which one's the oldest?
The priest.
I'm 44 in game.
And,
I mean, the doctor's not much... I mean, there's, what, about 3 years difference between the doctor and the priest?
Okay, so
Well-
they look...
Well, I think. The doctor's 32.
Yeah. Okay, so 12.
So I'm gonna try to keep the priest up. I mean,
Gonna try and keep...
yeah.
Try to.
I don't want to go to hell. Whoa there, Father.
No, what seems to be going on around here? Why is there so much racket?
I think we got ourselves a good old ballroom brawl over here. I
At
should
which
do
point
something.
at which point you hear the sound of glass breaking as someone gets thrown through the front window of Lady Goodnight's. Did you throw them, June, or did somebody else?
I know that Pearl would kill me if I ever broke the glass. So, no.
It was real expensive.
I did not throw that person through the window. Now that it's broken, though, I don't have to worry about being the one breaking it. I am kicking whoever else is in here causing a ruckus out. However, I need to get them out.
Okay. Deputy, somebody does come flying through this door. The doctor, by the way, is still on the ground. Are you going to help him up?
I'm gonna help him up. There you go, Doc Anders.
Thank you, Deputy. I don't know why I come in here half the time.
You know, it's the call of the drink. It's, I'm gonna go look at what's happening outside. Lady Goodnight is sort of out of my jurisdiction for reasons. But the streets of Four Corners are where I have to keep the peace. So, have a good day.
I mean, technically, Lady Goodnight's is not illegal.
Oh no, it's just I know June's there, and I know she'll handle whoever drunkard comes running through, or breaking through, I guess.
Yeah, knowing that June's involved, the doctor's going to head back over to his office because I can guarantee someone will be in there shortly.
So which one of you walks out the door first?
Scott, you want to go?
Actually, I'm going to dust myself off.
Alright, I'm gonna head out first.
Okay. So you walk out the door, and you walk into the street where the brawl has now spread through the street. You got folk either side. Maisie, did you even get out of town before?
I don't think so. I think she was probably locking up as they came out of the saloon, and she. I feel like this is not like a new thing for town.
probably not new, but probably discouraged. It's not it's not an everyday occurrence, but it's not uncommon.
Not the first time.
Definitely not.
It might be, the first time this year or this month, but it's not the first time. And I
It's
think
definitely the first time by somebody who's broken Lady Goodnight's window, though.
And I think she would probably go straight to. I imagine there's probably a hitching post outside and like a trough outside of the general store. I think she would go take a bucket and just throw water on whoever's closest, like whatever set of fighting is closest, to try and get people to break it up, or at least keep them away from the store. Because
How many people are out in the streets fighting?
By this point, there are about a good 6 or 7 guys. It's definitely a full-on brawl. Deputy, you are careful taking a look out the door before you step into what you know is a fight at this point, I'm assuming.
Well, of course.
And you see Maisie across the way throw a giant bucket of water on a couple of the Bradford boys. Doesn't seem to have a whole lot of effect beyond one of them just being wet. They're too focused on each other. And as you walk out the door, you see another figure winding up to throw a punch.
At
At
me?
you.
Yeah, of course. Is it
Specifically at
Joshua?
you. Actually, yes, it is Joshua Covington.
Oh, shit. I was going to say keep an eye out for him, but, can I try to block his, or deflect his blow?
Sure.
Try to get the fist
Go right
out
ahead.
of the way? Because,
Yeah. You want to just roll a fighting brawl on that one, or what do you...
well, that didn't work.
No, it really doesn't. Not with a fail.
I got pummeled.
You go to hit or try and knock him out of the way, but he's not actually trying to throw a punch. You're prepared to knock his arm out of the way and go about your business and thinking that that's what he's doing, but he's going for a full-on tackle into push you back into the bar. Kind of taking advantage of this moment of chaos, for lack of a better term, to make himself deal with his own problems.
Mm-hmm.
You want to... So he's going to push you back into the bar. Why don't you try and roll dodge or dex to see if you can stay upright?
I'll go with Dex.
Figured.
I got a hard success on the Dex check. I would have succeeded on my dodge, but yeah.
Yeah, that's figured. You do manage to stay upright. You do take the full weight of this 20-something young pissant. Young, wiry, dark hair, attractive in a very swarmy sort of way. But he isn't the most athletically inclined individuals, and he bounces off of you into the person behind him, pushing more people out into the street. While the doctor is making his way across the street, through this brawl, how are you, what are you going to plan to do about this situation?
Just casually stroll through the street and try to get back to my office in one piece. So I'm avoiding anybody that's not already involved with another person, and gonna head into the office and start getting the bandages ready.
A wise decision at this point, as a few figures come flying out the broken window of Lady Goodnight's. You're pretty sure that you just saw June throw 2 men through a window. But now we have June has removed most of the problems from the actual place of business. Are you gonna do anything else, or?
I make a mental note to apologize to Pearl later. And then to head out and try to break up this fight.
So you're just gonna walk into the street, find who's ever fighting, knock heads together?
Basically.
Why don't you just go ahead and roll me fighting brawl to see what's going on? See how well you do. I mean, you're gonna get at least one, but...
Fighting brawl.
Ooh, success.
Yeah.
And you just take two of them and literally just knock them together. They kind of and fall down. I mean, these individuals are severely impaired at this point. And it doesn't take much to knock them out. You see the deputy coming back out of the saloon next door, or across the street. How are you doing, deputy, when you see June knock these two folk out?
Howdy, Miss June.
Deputy. Still holding on to the two. And she just kind of like, doesn't drop them, but will like, put them down.
I mean, they're unconscious. It's fine. It's not that hard.
Alright. Yep.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Maisie.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, since Maisie's first attempt didn't work, I think she'd be heading back into the store. To grab the shotgun that's under the counter.
Maisie's gonna be the one to escalate this, deputy.
and I think she'd go out and do the good old fashioned and shoot straight up in the air and see if it catches people's attention.
Let's see. You get a few folks' attention, but a couple people are way too involved and way too drunk.
So I think whoever stops, she like points it towards them and shoos them like off.
See a couple of the guys go. And they kind of begin backing their way towards, backing themselves right towards the deputy. And at this point, kind of look at him, look at the girl with the shotgun. You know, this is all way too complicated. We have work we are doing. We'll see you all later. We're going back to the ranch. Bye! And you have a couple...
And then I think Maisie just keeps her shotgun there and just like sits on the rocking chair on the porch. Like, you do what you boys need to do. You don't touch the store. No broken windows over here. Like, as long as nobody comes within range, she's just gonna like let somebody else deal with the annoyance.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to raise my voice as much as I can because I don't have my pistol with me. So I'm just gonna yell out, "Hey! If y'all want to keep fighting, I got a cell that you can all fight in." That was a weird word, fight. If you don't stop right away, I'm gonna put you all in. And you're staying there for longer than just the night.
Two of the guys stop and look at you, kind of recognize who you are, and just go, Sorry, deputy. We'll get going. We're fine. And one of the guys, a larger gentleman by the name of Leon, nobody rightly knows what his last name is. He only answers to Leon. Turns around and will throw a punch at you.
What the fuck, Leon?
And he's not going to be very successful at it at all, just kind of full on and whiffs right by you and just kind of spins himself and falls towards you. Are you gonna do anything about it?
If I can, I want to catch him and cuff him up.
You can do that.
with my manacles.
The man is very drunk.
Yeah, I know. But at least if the rest of the people see me bringing one away, they might start to think that, I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
In a video game, this would be like, Leon will remember this.
Yeah, and then my answer is, I don't give a fuck. So which...
Leon may or may not remember this. He is extremely intoxicated at the moment. Father, you survived your issue. Are you doing anything about the brawl that's mostly spread itself out of the saloon by this point?
I'd like to try what the deputy did, but use some different words. So I'll kind of like stumble out a little bit, like rest on the door and like it creaks open. And I'll try to use like my booming like voice that would be like chapel use. And I'll say, Gentlemen, please. A man has died this day. Let us celebrate in happiness, not in fighting.
Let's see. Unfortunately, Father, a couple of those folk really don't care. They're right enjoying it, and one of them literally turns around and shoves the guy he was fighting, almost throwing him at you. What are you gonna do?
I would like to move out of the way.
You're just gonna step out of the way?
Mm-hmm.
That's easy enough to do. That's not hard. We'll let you do that one. Just dodge out of the way of that step out of the way as this gentleman comes tumbling by, and he kind of goes, "Sorry about that, Father," and he skips up and just kind of runs out and just decks the guy who threw him at you. And then, so now you've got a couple people unconscious, a couple people, fighting, and someone else. I'm assuming June is going to deal with a couple other people.
Yeah, June's just wanting to get this done and over with. So she's going to find other people to knock some sense into.
Just go ahead and roll me that unarmed again. You're getting at least two at this point. They're really... Oh, yeah. You knock out a couple more. One of them tries to take a swing at you, and you just kind of literally let your fist hit his face, and you kind of go, "What the hell was that? That wasn't... I don't even know what that was." By this point, most of the fight has died down. A couple people that are still up kind of look around, see what's going on, and bust out. But you now have like 5 guys on the ground of the street, and 5 guys of the ground of the street, and the one guy you've cuffed, he's unconscious. Are you gonna do anything else with the other unconscious folk, deputy? And what are the rest of you going to do, I should say?
Well, I think I motioned to Maisie, June, and Father Makarov and asked them for their help in dragging these drunkards into a cell.
I will attempt to help the deputy.
If y'all don't mind.
I think Maisie would motion to give him a sec. She'd put the shotgun away and then come out and help. Because wrangling grown men and a shotgun doesn't seem like a feasible activity.
You can just grab him by the collar or the ankle and just drag him in the street. We'll call that.
Imagine her pulling him by the collar,
Yeah. June's gonna go for the ones that had crashed through the window.
One of them is the gentleman that the deputy has
cuffed. Okay.
Cuffed Leon, and the other is Jack or
Also-
John. No one's really sure which one's which. So
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick up whoever basically landed in the glass. and I know is going to be
That would be
injured,
Jack or John.
and just kind of like hoist up.
Oh, he's got
Well,
some cuts on his face at this point.
Deputy, I think I should get this one to the dock first, and then we can throw him into a cell. Don't
All
want
right,
him breathing all over your cell.
You what?
Don't want him breathing all over your nice cell over there.
I mean, I wouldn't want to have the death of one of the townspeople on my conscience, but you, if you want, you can take your time to bring him to the Sawbones. I mean, if he's not in any danger.
He kind of just like lifts him up as if to inspect him a little more. Might as well get the doctor. Take a look. Did bit of a nasty fall.
I saw that.
So,
Please go easy on these men, Deputy. Grief has a funny way of retching its way into men's hearts, and they do stupid things.
Oh no. That's why they're gonna go sleep in the cell for a couple hours.
As you wish.
And then maybe they can pay reparation to Lady Goodnight.
Of course, as is law.
And to the saloon.
which you do notice now has a couple broken chairs. Oddly, their windows are fine, but you know, Bruce Taggart is known for his oddly unbreakable windows. It's very strange. There might actually be money on it in some corners of the town. What does Bruce Taggart do to make sure that none of the fights that break out in his saloon ever break his windows? It's an act of God, really. Minor miracle.
I seem
But-
to have attracted myself a purring critter.
Yes, you did. It's easy enough to clean off the street and get those who mostly cuts and bruises, a couple major lacerations for guys who went through the plate glass window, either up to the doctor or mostly to the jail. You have a couple good cells in there, about 3. You probably got about 2 or 3 guys in each cell by this point. And they're unconscious and intoxicated and aren't probably going to be a problem, at least for the next little while. Which is the perfect time for us to take a break.
All right. We'll see you
So
all. Yep. Yep.
So we'll be back shortly.
In a couple of minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, folks. We'll be right back.
else, but
Well, I just decided that we should go back live. Like, all of a sudden. Bam! Hi, everyone. We're back. We talked about the donations and all that and bits and stuff. They're not up. They're not 100% tweaked at the moment, so we're not going to use them for today. Hopefully, we're not going to lose all of our sanity after this bar fight. But you can keep an eye out till next week. For next week, it's going to be up here, and we'll also be posting it on Twitter and social media so that, you know, to get the hype going and sort of tease a bit of what we're doing with it. So, Deirdre?
we're going to fast forward a little bit. By this point, night has fallen. It's a little cooler in October than the rest of the day. Autumn breeze is blowing in, and the desert can get quite cold at night. By this point, the only folk still up are hanging out in the saloon, listening to some, well, drinking, less fighting. A few folk are visiting Lady Goodnight's. I believe June put some enterprising young gentlemen to work boarding over the window. Well, she apologized profusely to Pearl about the damage that occurred. But, Deputy, you have a full jail. 6 young gentlemen, Leon, Jack and John, one Joshua Covington, which will be quite interesting to explain to his uncle when the sheriff gets back in town.
Well, he had it coming. There's a lot of people moving their heads and their shoulders, and I don't
Sorry, I
know.
had to break out into Chicago lyrics.
Same. Yeah, we all did it, and I was like, I'm gonna be good. Okay. By the way, next time I firmly recommend the Cell Block Tango from Chicago. You also had Silas. You do not have Silas because Silas is not there. You have Samuel and Jedediah. Jedediah is slightly odd. You're very familiar with the man. By all accounts, he is a teetotaler and doesn't drink. So his imbibing and response of violence was very out of character for at least the man that you're familiar with. Jack or John, whichever one isn't currently in the jail, is, well, handcuffed to a bed in the doctor's office. That laceration going through the window was a little bit bigger than folk were thinking, and between the alcohol and the blood loss, he kind of passed out and decided maybe not necessarily medically best for him to be leaving the jail tonight. But the night has kind of started to wind down. Most of y'all have returned to your own lodgings for the evening. I want all of you to make a listen check. Ooh. So the only person who everybody fails except... Ooh, no, wait, we have 2 extreme successes. The father and Maisie, both here. The father probably because he's used to quiet meditation and probably didn't spend as much time hanging out in the saloon as other folk did and retired back to the church. And Maisie, well, you're used to being home alone in the rooms above the store, and would it be right to say you're slightly aware of what's going on around you and protecting your store?
Yeah, I think she's pretty defensive, and I mean, she's also a young woman living alone.
It's not paranoia if they really are out to get you. But in this case, what you hear instead of the quiet of the desert, or even above the loud music of the saloon and the raucous cries and of gambling that's going on, and you hear a scream. You hear a scream of a mother crying for the doctor. What do? The both of you.
I would run towards it. Wherever. I was probably like either like preparing like for like the next sermon of the next day, or whenever I was holding mass next. I'd probably just like close my book, and like a scream is like pretty like someone needs help. I am the local priest in the town, so yeah, I would probably just like throw my robes on if I didn't have them on, and like rush outside towards it.
And you rush outside, and standing in the middle of the street, screaming for assistance on that side street, again, T-shaped town, church at the tip of the T. Makes sense that you'd hear most things that go on in town. Further down this way, you hear the scream of a young mother. You know her to be Mrs. Lake. Her husband is one of the local miners and rarely home during the week. But you do know that she has a young boy, about 6 years old, and she's screaming loudly for the doctor. Father, where's the doctor? I need his help. Where's the doctor?
I assume he is. Where does the doctor stay? Does he have like an apartment like above the office, maybe, or?
He has an office above. Yeah, I assume. Well, where does the doctor stay?
Just a small room in the doctor's office. He's got a room in the back for himself that he, practices and studies in while everybody else is, elsewhere. But completely oblivious to what's going on, apparently.
What kind of state does she look in? Is she like obviously disheveled? Is there blood? Is she like cradling the boy, or?
No, she's literally scream. She doesn't have the child with her. She's screaming for help. She's screaming that she needs the doctor. Where's the doctor? I can't find the doctor. He's bleeding. I don't understand. Why is he bleeding? I need help.
And I think Maisie would have taken longer to get there because the general store's kind of down the road, right? But yep. I think when she heard somebody screaming specifically for the doctor, she knows what the doctor always orders from the store. She probably has backups, and she probably grabs kind of like a bunch of stuff, not really knowing what to use it for, but just in case the doctor needs it, and runs out. I imagine she had probably been like doing accounts or something. So she's pretty prepared to run out the door and down the road.
So are you going to get the doctor, or are you going to call for him?
I
mean, his place of business is right next door, so...
Yeah, so I think she would go straight to his door and bang on the door and try and wake him up.
So Dr. Andrews comes out of the back and sees, Maisie banging on the door, and I'll open the door. What's going on? What's going on?
You didn't hear that, Doc? There's somebody yelling down the road. For you.
I'll run back to my office and grab my medicine bag and head up the road towards the screams.
Okay.
Can I like try to calm her a little bit to find out what happened? They're like, Mrs. Like, please, you need to calm down. Just 1 second.
He's bleeding. I don't understand. Why won't he bleed? I don't know where he's coming from. He's just bleeding.
Bleeding from where?
I don't know.
This is very strange.
Yes, no shit.
Please, the doctor is coming now. There, he's coming out. Please, take him to him.
Come quick. I don't understand what's going on. He's bleeding. He just won't stop bleeding.
And looking at the boy, I mean, does anything appear apparent that,
Well, she's leading you into the house, and the boy is laying on the bed. Why don't you roll me a spot hidden to see what you can, or medicine.
Medicine. There we go. That's probably a better one.
Success. He is very pale. His breathing is very erratic. He seems lethargic, and you notice that he is just bleeding from random lacerations.
So he actually does have wounds that are causing bleeding. Okay. I'm going to reach into the medical kit and grab some gauze and just try and have the mother put her hands on it, apply pressure to the wounds and see if we can figure out what happened. I mean, did he Did he hurt himself? Where did these come from?
He was. I mean, it's late. He was in bed, and all of a sudden, I went to go check on him, and he bleeding. I don't. What do I do? What do I do if I... Doctor, what do I do?
Stay calm. Stay calm. Keep pressure on these wounds.
And she passes out on you.
Then
I think Maisie would immediately go to help the woman and try and maneuver her over to like a chair or something and start fanning her.
Maisie, in my bag, get the ammonia out and wake her up. I need to know what happened.
I'm assuming the boy's unconscious, or
yes, he is very unconscious. His breathing is extremely erratic. You notice that there are a number of lacerations across his arms, his chest. They all seem to be bleeding. With that successful medical roll, you'll notice, Doctor, that the pressure you're applying doesn't seem to be having as much effect as that you're used to. Something seems to be not letting this boy stop bleeding.
All right. I mean, let's completely has me puzzled, but let's elevate him and see if we can get this to slow down some.
yes, that is a good idea, and I'll try to assist the doctor, and because I don't have very much medical skills, but would I have like known? Does it seem like a demonic thing that maybe something or?
You can roll me an occult or a religion.
One of those. Let's see. There's a cult. Let's roll cult.
Ooh, a hard success. You would know that there are definitely rumors of beings that would cause excessive bleeding. But this doesn't seem like it. It seems almost natural lack of clotting, for lack of a better term. Not natural to him, but a natural occurrence, not a supernatural occurrence.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are we in the boys' bedroom right now?
Yes, it's a very small bedroom. Not like hemophilia. You would know, Doc Anders, you brought this child into the world, and right. You are very familiar with this child. He is usually a very healthy, active young boy. Robert is his name. Most people call him Robin. The last time you saw him, he had shoved a pebble up his nose and was making whistling tricks with it. He was much more, not usually a child. From his medical history that hemophilia is not something that he has.
Gotcha.
Does he have a window or anything in here?
There is a window in his room.
Is it broken?
It's not broken. It's cracked. It's open.
Doctor, please continue tending to the boy. I want to check something. And I want to go over to the window and look out of it.
So roll me that spot hidden.
Oh, great.
It's real dark. I mean, this is 1870. You're on one of the side streets. Off the side of the only lights that you see are the light of the church, and you can see the distant glow of the saloon. But other than that, there aren't many stars out tonight, and the moon's covered, so there's a whole lot of black.
Doctor, someone or something attacked this boy. Perhaps we should get the deputy.
That's a good idea. Maisie, can you go down and alert the deputy that we have a situation here?
And I think Maisie had been trying to get the mom to wake up. Was there any luck with that?
No,
Nope.
she hyperventilated herself into unconsciousness.
And I imagine she probably found like I don't know, some kind of.
I mean, did you find the smelling salts?
I think Maisie would know what they are because she's the one that has to order everything for the doctor.
Right.
So she would have gone
uncommon.
to get them and try it. But she still didn't wake up.
Robin, what's wrong with him?
And Maisie would be like, Father, I can go get the deputy if you deal with this.
Okay, I will do my best.
That's definitely your area of expertise with the freaking out people. And she's gonna walk out the door.
Please, Mrs. Lake, I need you to breathe. I need you to breathe in and then breathe out. And then breathe in and then breathe out. I need you to do it slower, to slow your heart rate, all right? Please.
Yes, of course, Father. I'm so sorry. He's bleeding. I don't understand. Why is he breathing?
The doctor is doing everything he can. Please, you must calm down and tell us what your son has done this day.
Well, he went riding, and then he came back, and well, the school was closed because, the funeral and everything, and then he was playing with some of the local boys, and he was home for supper, and he had a bath, and we read some of the Bible together, and he went to bed, and then I went to check on him before I went to bed, and he was bleeding. I don't know what to do, Father. What do I do?
You must stay calm and let the doctor concentrate. He's doing his best.
Yes, of course.
Did the boy have any enemies? Someone will be able to harm him.
Why would my boy have enemies? He's 6. Everybody likes Robin. He's a nice boy.
So, upon observing the wounds, I mean, is there anything odd that they appear, or do they look just like clean lacerations? Just
the lacerations appear clean. Slightly shaped, hooked almost. They don't look like any claws that you're familiar with. I mean, you live in the desert of New Mexico. You've seen folk attacked by coyotes and a couple bears. These don't look like that. Seen a couple mountain lions, but this doesn't look like the ragged tearing that you're used to with that.
right. And these aren't like knife cuts either, like clean.
Not quite. They seem clean like a knife, but they don't look like a knife that you're familiar with.
Okay. And then is there anything we can do to stabilize the boy? I mean, this bleeding, I don't know what to do to stop it. It's not like anything I've ever seen.
I mean,
Let's see.
you want to roll another medicine check and see if you can?
Yeah, let's see.
Success. You, looking at these wounds and having tended them for a while and being aware of noticing what's going on, you're pretty sure that there's probably a venom involved of some sort that's preventing coagulation. So you need some sort of astringent probably to clean the wounds aggressively to stop the bleeding.
Okay. In my bag, there's a bit of alcohol. Can you get that for me?
I shall grab the alcohol from his bag and hand it to him.
Thank you, Father. And I'll begin dousing a set of bandages with the alcohol and trying to clean the wounds as best I can without causing too much more damage.
While that's happening, we're going to pan down to Maisie running down the street to try and get the deputy. Maisie, what do you do? As you turn the corner towards the jailhouse.
I think she slows and does she know that that George lives above the she would know that George lives above. That's not right? I'm just like making that up. I'm on the spot. Okay.
No. You would be aware of the fact that the deputy lives above the jail cell.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for
particularly
4
with the sheriff
months.
out of town.
So I think is there a direct way up there, like stairs on the outside of the building, or do you have to go inside and up through?
No. There's a staircase on the outside of the building.
Okay, so she would just run. She would run, and she's not trying to be quiet or anything. So,
yeah.
I imagine in a town like this, somebody running down the street in the middle of the night is like a fair amount of noise.
Mhm. Yeah, probably. June, are you still in the Lady Goodnights?
Probably like wrapping up for the night.
Okay. Then yeah, you might. Well, roll me a listen check. See if you can hear her loudly running down the street.
Nope.
Sounds of Lady Goodnight's house of rest are a little loud.
June had learned how to block them out. Blocks out all the other sounds too. She's just like, I don't.
Yeah, it's hard to hear things, particularly somebody's got particularly with your musician playing away and trying to block out other noises that are coming from upstairs. Deputy, however, you would probably definitely hear Maisie running up the stairs of your.
Yeah, I'll open the door. As soon as I hear footsteps on the stairs, I'll open the door. And I go like, "Oh, Miss Coldwater, what is it?"
The doc sent me. Mrs. Lake, her boy, has been hurt. Robin's been hurt, and we don't know. It seems bad, and it seems like something that somebody with some kind of authority should be at. So I came to. Sorry, I'm really tired. I came to get you.
Take a breather, Miss Coldwater. I'm gonna pick up my things, and I'll be right through.
Okay. I mean, like you should hurry. The boy is bad, and the Mrs. She just keeps fainting.
How far away is their house?
About 3 houses down.
Okay, so I don't have to take my horse or anything to save time.
No.
All right.
This is a very small town.
I'm
You
just
would-
gonna. Yep.
You would waste time getting
Yeah.
to your horse too.
I'm just picking up the keys to the jail and to my house, and I mean I'm already dressed, so I'm leaving.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk
So
there
you
stark
run
naked. Huh?
So you run down the steps. As you're running down the street towards the lake's house, excuse me. Why don't the two of you roll me a spot hidden? I'm assuming you went back to the house.
Not this time. Not this time.
It's dark. You see a couple figures that you're kind of not sure about, and then you realize, oh wait, nope, that's Wilford. He's just drunk again. You're right quick and kind of slightly have to stumble to avoid running over him as he's passed out in the middle of the sidewalk. Boardwalk, as it were. And you run down into Mrs. Lake's house. As you enter this scene of this traditional clapboard 2-story house, you enter through the front door. It's one large main room with the stairs going up. There's the kitchen behind the stairs, and then there's another small bedroom off to the right where you see in the open door the doctor treating a young boy and the priest trying to control Mrs. Lake as she appears to about to have another fit of vapors and pass out in his arms.
This is like, please, I need you to remain calm. Let's recite the Lord's Prayer one more time, okay?
Yes.
Our Father, who art
Yeah,
in
that-
heaven. Yeah, I just want to try to like.
that name and that kingdom come, but not right now, because
It is okay. It's okay. Let us keep going.
and she continues to recite with you, and
Mhm.
I was gonna say, isn't the part after Thy Kingdom Come just Amen?
no, but good try.
Not quite, deputy.
It's all I remember from Sunday school.
I mean, crap, I can't do that one in French off the top of my head, but I can do the Hail Mary in French off the top of my head. That's... Thank you, multiple languages. Moving on. But you see the
Reckon
doctor...
there's been an accident? Sorry.
Doctor, please, will you please fill in the deputy on what has happened here?
And I'll let George know that, the boy has multiple lacerations along the arms that I don't know what might have done this. There's nothing, no sign of struggles, no knives, no anything, no broken glass. I don't understand what could have cut this boy.
If I look about the room, is there anything, any sharp object, any, or not even sharp, but like pointy objects either, or something blunt that could have, I don't know, maybe the boy hit himself. Where's the wound, doctor?
There are
Where is that there? 4 wounds?
There are 4 wounds. 2 lacerations across his left arm, 1 laceration across his right arm, and 1 laceration across the middle of his chest.
Does it look like anything I've seen before? They're not lash marks.
No.
It's not lashing? Okay. Just making
No.
sure. I'd be surprised. Animal bites?
It doesn't look like any bite you're familiar with. You said you wanted to look and see if there were any weapons in the room. Go ahead, roll that spot hidden.
I'm gonna turn on a light before I do so. Because I feel like this game is lacking something called dark vision. Hey, success.
Well-
Oof, by 1%. Jesus.
Reminder, of course, that you all still have luck and you can spend it to make a roll a success.
That's
Um,
true. How much is it again?
I wanted the deputy to spot something outside, not me.
As it's a 1-to-1, by the way. These are Pulp Cthulhu rules. For those interested, you can spend your luck to drop 1 point each point as you go. As you go, but with a success, you do see something, deputy, out of the corner of your eye.
What do I see with my deputy eyes? That didn't work. That didn't sound out well.
You see something that you've never seen before in your life. You see a large floating? It seems to be floating, bulbous shape with tentacles dragging down, red in color, with long talons at the base of each of the tentacles. You seem to see it growing in color and brightening the longer the child bleeds. And the more it bleeds, the more obvious this creature becomes. It has no face or eyes, but a giant sucking void that's staring right at you. Would you please roll me a sanity check?
What in tarnation? I don't have my iron on me. Well then, kid's gonna die. Hey, that's a success.
It is, which is good.
My brain just goes, it's a grizzly bear!
Although you do lose 6 sanity looking upon this creature, and with losing more than 5 sanity in a time, you have a bout of madness, unfortunately. And this bout of madness, the kind, affable George Brooks that most folk in town know, is replaced by an entirely different person. This pacifist deputy that people are used to instead is approached and replaced by a man well used to using a gun. and well used to using violence as a means of dealing with his problems. For the next 2 rounds, what are you going to do with this creature hovering in midair?
Well, like
Deputy.
I said, I don't have my gun. So I'm just gonna turn around to everyone and say, everyone out! Get the boy out! There's a critter here! Just... get! All of y'all, get!
Now I'll make sure the bandages are on the boy and scoop him up, and I'll try to head out of the room.
I'll try to help Mrs. Lake out of the room.
And
Okay.
and I think Maisie will. Maisie doesn't see anything, does she?
Well, you now have the deputy pointed out that there is a critter in the room.
Yeah,
If you
but does
turn to
she?
look at it,
Yes.
it'll be floating there.
It's in the room?
Yes.
My next action was to grab anything and take a swing at it.
You can pick up the glass oil lamp sitting by the side of the bed.
Yeah, let's burn down a house.
Make Isidore proud.
I do.
Sorry, I'm better. So do you turn to look at the creature in the room, Maisie?
Yeah, I think she would.
And you see this giant brightening red thing floating there in the corner, staring down the deputy with its long talons starting to reach out and tentacles wiggling independently, reaching out towards him. Go ahead and roll that sanity check. Ooh, success. Successes are good. You really don't want to roll a fail on this one. With only losing 2 sanity. As you see this pulsating, writhing mass of tentacles and suckers reaching out towards the deputy as he goes to pick up the glass oil lamp, which is currently lit because the doctor, well, the mother needed to see what was wrong with her child, and the doctor needed to see to tend to the child.
Just throws a pillow at it.
I think Maisie would say, "What in tarnation?" and then back out of the room.
Okay, so the doctor's focused on his patient, got out of the room. The priest is focused on getting the mother out of the room. Maisie's backing out, slightly concerned and just being like, "Nope, I'm out."
She's noping the hell out of there.
He's going to roll a fighting brawl with an oil lamp.
I'm muted.
And
Hello,
you're
I
muted.
was muted. Fighting brawl. Let's hope for the best. Extreme success. I don't know if that changes anything. I don't remember for combat.
Well, it can with like actual weapons,
It makes you feel better.
but in this case, the creature does not get to dodge, and you shatter this oil lamp across it. Roll me 3d6 for lit oil fire damage.
11.
Ooh. And you hear it scream in pain. But you don't hear it with words. You hear it almost in your head as it's staring at you. This high-pitched, writhing, screaming pain. And at the same time, this being, which is now on fire and lit up in the house, at the same time, that happens. Doctor, you notice that your patient has stopped bleeding.
And I'm just going to credit this to the previous treatment methods that they appear to be working.
Science.
That's right.
However, now that this creature, which is on fire, and you did a lot of fire damage to it, it didn't like that at all. It is now, however, going to reach out and try and take a swipe at you, Deputy.
Nice knowing all of y'all.
I mean, you could... No, but it misses. Horribly. Horribly does it miss. As one of the tentacles reaches out towards you and just kind of swipes in your general direction, you kind of dodge out of the way, and it turns around, and its next two attacks are going to be simultaneous at you, trying to grab you.
Yeah, can I try to dodge out of that way?
Mm-hmm.
A luck or something.
Well, the thing is if I remember right, if I roll under a hard success, I succeed because it only got like a regular success, right?
Yep, exactly.
All right, so I need to roll under a 19 twice.
Yep.
I'm gonna use luck for that. But it doesn't turn it into a hard success. It just turns it into a regular success.
Well, I mean, you could take it all the way down to 19 if you wanted, if you had...
Yeah, no, that's not...
luck.
All right, the second one I'm going to burn 5 points to make
5
it...
points to make it a success?
Yeah.
Okay, what we'll say is...
A hard success for the second one.
Hard success. To make it a hard success so that you avoid being seized. But you are going to take damage from as the swipe, as these long tentacle talons reach out for you, and you just kind of, you go to duck underneath them, and you weave and bob, and you manage not to get grappled by it and pulled towards this gaping maw in itself, but you are going to be scratched as these long tentacles have these giant talons, about 3-4 inches, hooked blades at the end of them. I'm only going to take 2.
Wow, according to that description, I was expecting to just die on the spot.
No, you'd die on the spot if he had got you. Well, no, you wouldn't die on the spot if he had captured you.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
But now it has your attention, and starts floating in the air towards you, and it is glowing and lit the frick on fire. What are you gonna do, Deputy?
Am I still in the non-pacifist mode?
Oh yeah, another turn for another round.
Okay, then is there anything within reach that I can use? Otherwise, I might try to shiv it with the broken oil lamp.
I mean,
fuck it. I'm just gonna punch it if there's nothing.
not really. It's still on fire.
Oh yeah. Maybe not a good idea to punch it. I didn't bring my weapons. It's just, it was a boy and he had an accident. I'm gonna strap iron all the time from this point on if I survive. I'll try to get out of its... Oh no, am I grappled or I'm not grappled? I'm not grappled because I succeeded.
You're not grappled.
Okay.
You spent the luck.
I'm going to run out of the room. Look about me. Do I see, is anyone between Maisie, the doctor, the father, do anyone have like something that could be used as a weapon? Because if you do, I'm going to go for it.
Maisie has a revolver.
I probably have my cross like hanging around my neck. It will protect you from anything.
As you run out, you see the giant floating red pulsating tentacled being now lit on fire follow you. out into the main room.
I'm gonna subject y'all to a sanity check.
Unfortunately, yes. Well, luckily, actually, I need all of you to roll sanity except June because she's not there.
And if I can, I'll reach out for Maisie's pistol. Revolver.
Ooh.
I think this is the right button.
I made the sanity roll.
Yes. All right.
Yep. Okay.
Hard
So
success.
Can I burn the 5?
But Kelly,
you can burn the 5.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
No, you can't luck a sanity roll.
Oh, you can't
unless
lock a
you
sanity roll.
No, but
No.
she already rolled her sanity check.
No, but
But now it's on fire.
Oh, okay.
now it is an angry, glowing, tentacled monster on
On
fire.
fire.
Reaching out towards you with your glowing tentacles, attempting to attack you. I would say that this is not the same thing that she saw previously, and it's probably a very different reaction.
I'm
Think
sorry.
So, sorry about this. Kind of. So, the father and Kelly and Maisie are both going to lose 9 sanity. As you both begin to feel the effects of a bout of madness. Father, you are full-on stunned by what you are seeing. This is an abomination from God, and you have no idea what the hell to do about it. This is a sign
from hell itself.
and you are focused and frozen, staring at this abomination from hell, reaching out towards you for all you believe. Maisie, however, has a slightly different reaction. You are feeling a need to prove yourself, almost show off how good you are with that gun that you have strapped to you, and you're going to reach, and you know that you can take this. You know that you can handle this by yourself, and you have the ability. You're a strong, independent woman, and you totally can do this.
Okay. And that's what'll happen.
Maisie has a gun, and she's going to react with that. And we have
Oh, wait.
and
It is
then,
a fifth of...
the doctor. What?
It's a fifth of Father's Boris's sanity.
Ooh. We'll get to that fun.
Great.
We'll get to that fun.
I'm sorry, Father, for I have rules lawyered.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, he's not permanently insane yet.
No, but you're gonna get a cool thing.
Yep, you
Sweet.
are. But we'll deal with that in a little bit. However, the doctor is going to lose 6 sanity. But he is a skeptic. So the question becomes, Doctor, do you acknowledge what you see?
No, this is some weird bug that's not been discovered in the Southwest, as far as I'm concerned.
A giant floating 5-foot bug with on fire and reaching tentacles.
Well, you know, the flames kind of obscure things.
Okay. For those of you unaware, skeptics don't take their sanity loss right away. They take it all at once they accept what they see. So just track the sanity that you are losing, Doctor, and we'll come back.
It's just a big fly.
So it's a
Right. You know,
Big bloat fly.
really, you might need a bigger swatter. So reaching out now for you, Mrs. Lake, by the way, sees what just walked out of her son's room and has a massive attack of the vapors and just passes out. No, That's just a no, I can't handle that, and she's probably not going to be coming back anytime. The father is stunned and very much focused on what's going on. It is, however, the deputy who's come running out of the room. What are you going to do as Maisie reaches for her own gun? Does anyone else have a weapon that's visible?
I was going to reach out for her revolver, but if she's pulling it out, I'm just gonna get out of the line of fire.
Yeah,
There is, however, a gun.
Sorry, the
Is the doctor strapping?
He does not have his firearm, but he does have his Bowie knife on him.
Bowie knife. I'm gonna shiv it.
It's on. I love this.
I am berserk. I need a weapon.
You kind of are.
More than my fists. So I'll just say, I'll take that there knife, doc. And I'll turn around and stabbity stab.
Go ahead and roll that fighting brawl. What's the damage on your Bowie knife, Doctor?
1d8. And then it says plus DB.
Yeah, I'm not big enough to have an actual DB. This is a success.
Ooh, you do hit it. It's not really dodging. It can't really dodge.
Okay, it's just never actually moving. It's just hovering and pursuing.
Well, it's floating towards you.
Yeah, 4 points of damage.
You hit it, and you feel it, the knife kind of glance off this hard rubber hide that's on fire, that you feel it did some damage, but nowhere near as much as you expected.
Get back from me, you devil!
Maisie, you're pulling that pistol. What are you gonna do with it?
Fire at the blob. Especially after she sees the deputy be aggressive, which is like weird for him. But is the deputy in the way?
I mean, it's about 5 foot tall and on fire. You could probably shoot around him. You might have to move yourself a little bit to make sure you don't shoot him.
She might yell, move. Like, she'd go, move, and then fire.
I'm a move.
But you
Fail.
don't hit it.
No.
Ooh, good.
Oh, but wait, what's the rate of fire?
I mean, you are within 10 feet. You can fan the hammer. It's not a very big room.
Yeah, I think revolver, you can attack 3 times if you're close enough from someone.
Yes, if you're within 10 feet, you can fan the hammer, which is 3 consecutive shots.
Burn luck on that one. The second one.
Burn 3 luck to make it a success. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's it. Just the second one.
Yeah. So the first shot, you're trying to get around the deputy. He's standing in your way, and you fire and goes off, hits the ceiling post, ceiling
Rafter?
beam. There we go. Beam. It's not a rafter because it's not the roof. It's just the ceiling of the second floor. It's the reason why I was stuck. You hit the beam. The second shot you see point into this giant gaping maw that's reaching out towards the deputy, who, while he moved slightly, is still right up close and personal with this thing. You don't know what it is. And the third shot, you again try and reposition yourself, and gun goes off and hits the side of the lintel of the door of the bedroom that the creature just flew out of. As you watch, however, the fire seems to consume it as it begins, because it's still on fire, to writher and shriek, and you hear in your head and out loud this high-pitched whining shriek of pain as this creature withers in on itself and just disappears. And all that's left is the flames that go out almost instantaneously. And nothing remains.
And I think Maisie is just standing there, still pointing where it was, shaking a little bit.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord.
Probably still frozen. I don't know what happens to me right now, but
You're still staring at what that thing was and rejecting it. I mean, you could probably by this point begin coming around, but you're almost entirely rejecting what you. Well, you're very convinced it was a being from hell.
With my hands shaking, I think he's gonna get his tobacco pouch out, and try to roll himself a smoke with like probably everything falling on the floor as he tries to keep his hand steady, and he's like, I can't. That wasn't natural. That wasn't natural. I don't know what happened. Is everyone all right?
And Maisie's just standing there kind of shaking, and then she slowly puts the gun back in her belt, and she's like, I what about Robin? Is Robin all right?
And at this point, the doctor's had his back to whatever it was the entire time because he's tending to Robin, making sure that Robin was okay. So,
And as a combat medic, you're used to ignoring
right,
what's going on behind you and
focusing on
the patient in front of you.
The boy will be okay. The bleeding seems to have stopped.
Here's your knife back, doctor. And George drops it on the floor behind him. I don't even know how far away the doctor is. I'm still looking. Is that still there? It disappeared.
There's char marks on the ground and on the beams on the lintel of the door, but there's nothing there.
Now, George stabbed it, so is there anything on my knife?
Roll me a luck roll. I mean, he did stab the knife through a bunch of fire.
Sure.
So.
Oh, just barely.
Success! Success is still a success. There is a small charred liquid, could be blood, stuck to the edge of the knife. George definitely stuck something.
I'm
Physical.
not going crazy. I'm not. Miss Coldwater, Padre, you've seen that thing?
I have no idea what that was. I have never seen anything like that out here before.
I've seen some
Amen.
crazy things, and not that.
it was a demon from hell, deputy. It is written. 4 Corners has a demonic presence somewhere.
Now, here's a question. Would you remember Father, specifically,
Mm-hmm.
anything that a young, well, lady who works across the street from your church as a bodyguard and bounty hunter has ever said about her trip? To Four Corners.
Is that the first thing comes into my mind? Just like,
Oh, yeah.
hmm.
Particularly as she was kind of concerned when she first came to town. Made a point of probably staring at you for long periods of time, checking to make sure that you were actually the man of the cloth that well, should be, and not anything that she may have mentioned previously. You probably didn't believe her at the time. Probably didn't think much of anything. Most folk have stories.
Could I use my like divination and pray and like have the yes or no be like, is June like a worshiper of Satan or, you know, cult demonic? Like that would be the yes or no.
You can definitely do this. I embrace this wholeheartedly. All
right.
of this.
Is the girl working at the brothel a Satan worshiper? I mean,
Maybe
typical
let's
views of
see.
the time.
June's the devil.
I mean, I'm not as familiar with how divination works. I don't think you have to roll for it.
A reading takes 1d10 rounds and the 1d6 psychic magic points.
Okay, so we'll roll the 1d6 for psychic magic points. We can 5. So subtract the 5 magic points for today.
Okay.
But you stare into the fire. Well, actually explain how you would perform this prayer to God.
Knees
face of this-
into the dirt, hands clasped probably around like my holy cross. And I'm just like, you know, probably just like muttering, you know, like maybe like the Hail Mary like over and over again. But in my head, I'm thinking like, you know, like, Father, please send me a signal. Like, you know, is this woman a worshiper of the devil? Did she summon this?
And you hear in your heart of hearts, God respond, no.
My face probably just goes like white, like after the response. You know, probably just like a cold sweat, like white, like who else could it be?
Wait,
And you hear it. I'll give you this because it's fun and I want to do it. You hear in your also a response. You're not used to more than just yes or no from God.
Mhm.
In fact, you're pretty sure that yet more than just yes or no from God might be a sign of holiness or an improvement. God recognizes you and honors you.
I'm a saint now.
oh my God, you're Russian Jesus.
Had to go there. She serves me and fights against them. Ask, and she will tell.
Wait,
Chills.
She's a bona fide paladin. Did you pray out loud, Father?
Probably just like mumbling.
Okay. Would I have recognized the name or the mention of the girl working at the brothel?
Yeah, probably. You probably heard her name, like within that, like.
You probably would have mentioned June is very distinctive. Her appearance is very distinctive, particularly in town.
Yeah, I think hearing this, yeah, George is booking it for the brothel. For the, night thing. Lady, good night.
Lady Goodnight's House of Rest.
Well, I mean, yeah. Partly because June is my treasured person. And she's the one that anchors me in reality. So if she knows anything about it, like, all the more reason to just glue up to her.
Mm-hmm. You run down the street. There's no one in the street at this time of night. It's quiet. The saloon is, well, there are lights on. You see a couple people you know playing poker through the window, but no one's paying much attention. Lady Goodnight's is even quiet. Well, as quiet as it gets this time of night. Most folk have retired. Where would you find June? Where would he find June?
June's probably no longer at the front. She's probably gone into one of the sitting rooms. Probably having a drink.
Relaxing, probably having a conversation with Pearl about the window that
Yeah.
you totally
No
didn't break.
apologizing.
You hear the door bust open as George runs into the building.
Miss Chan. Oi,
Deputy?
June. Oi. There's been an event at the lake's house. And you see like he's clenching his hat and like twisting it. I'm not gonna do it with my real one, but he's twisting it in his hands, and he goes, the Father Makarov. He said that you might know something about the weird thing. It caught on fire and it was bleeding a kid, and I tried to do. I don't remember everything. It was. Would you mind coming with me, miss?
And at this point, Pearl looks at you and says simply, shoot it. It doesn't come here. And I'm locking the door.
Oh, it's been gone, ma'am. I stabbed it with a Bowie knife after setting it on fire.
I don't care, Deputy. Shoot it. Hard. Frequently, please. I'm locking the doors. We're closed. And she proceeds to go about doing so.
Yeah. Jude will kind of put a hand on Pearl and be like, all right. Hopefully everything will be fine. And we'll pick up her rifle from where it's leaning up against the chair and swing it over. Either way, Deputy.
Oh, yes, ma'am. It's right over yonder.
It's easy enough to work it through the streets. You come back into the house, you see a very interesting sight. Father Markov still on his knees in front of, kneeling next to Mrs. Lake. You see the doctor tending to young Robin Lake. You see Maisie Coldwater standing around, staring shook at something that isn't there.
Right. So weird things, huh? Father?
Demons. Miss June, I spoke to someone who says that you serve him. And I gesture, hand up.
Definitely kind of raises an eyebrow. I don't know if I say I serve God as much as I try to get rid of the stuff that goes against his will, per se. I'm guessing that those things that I told you beforehand is making a little more sense now. People of the cloth.
Where do they come from?
Honestly, I have no idea. Only had one incident with them, and I was hoping that would stay on the down low and not have to happen again. Though, kind of glancing over to the boy and to whatever kind of almost smolders are coming from the house. I'm guessing that's a little too late for that, huh?
It is too late this time. But maybe for the next time you could better prepare us for what lies out there. Any information you may have on your previous encounter would be much appreciated. I think we got lucky this time. The deputy was very admirable in his actions.
You should thank Miss Coldwater for that. She shot it dead. That thing just came out of nowhere. I don't know how we can prepare for that. It was just one moment it wasn't there, and the next moment it was. I'm shook. I'm shook, Miss Chen. I'm shook.
Well, there ain't any preparations that you can do and set up a trap or anything, but now that you know, I guess I could tell you a few things. Just gotta keep a open mind. Most people think I just tell tall stories. A little bit of a glance over to the doctor before going back to the rest of the group.
Would you?
And-
Oh. No. If you, I would suppose you wanted to scene there.
I was going to say, that's as you pan back out of here, you see June escorting the doctor, the priest, the local girl, and the deputy over to her place of residence to give them a story. A story that involves a church and some folk that were really not what they appeared to be at all. But that's a tale for a different day. And that's where we'll end tonight. So, I'm going to say, first of all, thank you all for coming and playing, because this is fun. But we have some things to do. And we're going to run through some outros. So let's actually start in reverse order. Actually, let's start with Quentin.
I had a great time playing. This is super cool. Like a couple of times I was actually like, I don't know if that was a chill or not, which is super hard to do when playing tabletop role-playing games. So I really appreciate it. Everyone around me. Also, I had a great time playing with you guys. You guys can follow me on Twitter @Thragon. I'll put it in chat. But all I do is like and retweet everybody else's stuff. I don't really post that much, but I had a great time. So thanks again.
You're muted.
I know, I'm a professional. I can officially claim to be a professional now. Yay. Let's go around and head up to Scott.
So yeah, had a pretty good time this evening. Great description there. I'm still looking forward to being the skeptic of the group here. So let's see how far I can stack up that sanity loss that's coming. We all know it is. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter as well. @Berserker Rage is where I primarily do most of my tabletop stuff. So I'll link in the chat in a bit, and mostly do retweets mainly, but some original stuff out there.
Also, fun time. We started the game with a fire. Bets on how many things this group lights on fire before this campaign is over. Let's ride over to our dear merchant. Kelly, how we doing tonight?
Hi. Hi. I'm A. Kelly Lane on Twitter. I really enjoyed today. I really like the setting a lot. I feel like I'm getting to whip out some funny things that I just don't ever get to say. And I will be saying what in tarnation for the rest of the game. I'm super excited about it. You can find me on Twitter @AKellyLane. Also, Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. EST, I show up on Scarticus Academy, playing Curse of Strahd on Tuesdays, and Dynama, which is a game in the Weave system run by Renee, the lovely DM of Fate and the Fable Maidens. Those games are both a lot of fun. I really like them, and I'm really glad to be adding this campaign also to my season. I'm super excited to be here. So,
All right, let's swing over to our lovely bounty hunter, who is oh so special. Hey, Kiana.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing with you guys and seeing all the different characters. It's always my favorite part of these games is getting to see everybody and how different and interesting and cool they get to be. Yeah, I was just during that entire fight, I'm like, well, the only person that has weapons all the time and knows how to deal with these things is not here. How convenient. Oops. Yeah, but it was great. You can find me over on Twitter at KennaS. Best way to figure out what I'm doing because I'm all over the internet playing role-playing games pretty much every day of the week. But what I will plug is that next week I am running a game of Bluebeard's Bride, which is a kind of a series of one-shots I've been doing within the Bluebeard's Bride system. Fantastic games with a lovely cast. But tied in with that is the fact that I am soft launching a channel called Salty Sweet Games with me and Lauren, that's Salty Ginger. We don't have an official launch until the spring, but we're going to be testing out some stream stuff, figure out how to Twitch and pro stream our way through this. So definitely check it out next Thursday. But other than that, I'll only be here every other week on Saturdays because I have another game. So you'll see June kind of pop in and out and get to do some cool stuff and hopefully save everybody's ass at some point.
It'll be quite entertaining. I have plans. And then I'm going to end it off and then we'll hand it off to Simon for the finals. But hey all, glad you enjoyed this for today. You can find me on Twitter at Deirdre Donlin, where I talk about classics and tabletop role-playing games because I am that nerd. You can also find me back here on Monday as Simon gets to be the DM and I get to be your wonderfully lovely Void Cleric in the Dark Matter game. Because yes, all of the things are good in that game. Life is fine, everything's fine. And on Sunday, you can find me over on Soul Bear RPG as Simon and I play in that dark 5e campaign. Alienore's fine. Everything's fine. Also, plug for that game. Go watch The Shattered Eye because Kika nat 20'd to hit Mordenkainen in the face. That's all you need to know. Come for Kika punching the hell out of Mordenkainen. Stay for the very, very complex family drama that is The Shattered Eye. But I will see you all back here next week as we see what else these fine townsfolk can handle in this West. And Simon.
Hi. Hey, thank you everyone for coming. I hope you all had fun. I had a lot of fun playing with you all. It's going to be a very, very interesting campaign, and I can't wait to just go crazy and potentially just, I don't know, do something rash and on brand for me. Thank you everyone in chat. Thank you for coming. This was our first episode of Go West. We are going to be here every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. You can see the schedule for the channel down. No, it's not down below anymore. I think I removed it because it didn't fit. So you can see it on Twitter. If you want to, it's on my Twitter, it's pinned there, but we have shows on this very channel on Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. In addition to that, you can find me on Soul Bear RPG, like Deirdre mentioned, on Sundays, and on Thursdays you can find me on Unmade Gaming, where I'm DMing a game of Warhammer 4th Edition, Blood on the Reich. And
All I have to say about that game
Fish Pants Ale.
is Fish Pant Ale.
Yo. It's awesome. And also, I'll have a special guest. Can I talk about that? Yeah, okay. On February 1st, you can find me on Off the Table, reprising the role of Captain Sebastian Shaw. What the fuck am I talking about? Sebastian Snow. Woo! Wow. Captain Sebastian Snow for the second season of My brain. Second season of Adventures in the Wild Blue. Ooh, I blanked out. I completely blanked out. I think it's time for a fourth coffee for me. So thanks for coming, everyone, and we will see you again on Monday. Ciao.